Happy to be joined right now by the head football coach of the Florida State Seminoles from Tallahassee. And, well, you're watching them right there. That's Mike Norvell, coming off a fantastic season, done a heck of a job in Tallahassee, and obviously just signed a new deal to be there much longer. So they're excited about that in Seminole land. And, well, we are, too, excited to have Mike Norvell with us here on the show on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 network. And part of the reason we asked Coach Norvell to jump in is talk about the Jaguars' third-round pick, Jarrian Jones. And, Coach, we're excited about that pick in the third round. I think he was very excited to be a Jacksonville Jaguar. Tell us why we should all be excited to have him.
First of all, I appreciate you guys having me on, and you should be excited. You know, Jarrian's a great young man. You're somebody that's been here for the last 4 years. You kind of joined our program really when we came in. You're here to Florida State, and just you've been on a heck of a journey. You know, he's been through the highs, been through the lows. You know, had the opportunity to continue to grow and develop. Really, I'd say the last year and a half have been great. Last 2 seasons have been great seasons for him. I really took his game to another level here during his senior year. You moved him in, played a lot in the nickel position, and I thought you really thrived there. Has the size, the speed, the movements to be able to play outside. Really think has a chance to be special there in the slot, just with his man coverage ability, but also he'll throw his body around, which is always a good thing.
Well, we here in Jacksonville are wondering, okay, the Jags going to get a corner. Where are they going to put them? They did some things in free agency. Are they going to go on the outside? Darnell Savage coming on the inside. They've got some bodies there, and I think you just talked about it a little bit. You moved them to the nickel. Trent Baalke here in Jacksonville said, hey, he can play the outside too. How do you look at it at the NFL level? Can he do a little bit of everything?
I think versatility is key. And when you find a guy like that, especially the value in the third round, I mean, that really can do all. And, that gives great opportunity. You never know what's going to happen, throughout the course of a season, with injuries and things that might show up. But when you have a guy with a unique skill set, I mean, I think everybody saw, the performance he put on at the combine with all the testing, the measurables and the great speed that he brings. But he's a football player, and I think he embraces all aspects of it. Really, grew in a special teams value for us throughout the years. I think he's going to be a great special teams player, as well as what he's going to be able to do in the defensive backfield. But when you have somebody with that type of versatility, really allows flexibility and different personnel packages, things that you can do, and I think he'll be a great addition to the Jags and the whole organization.
Coach, I play in the defensive line. There's always going to be contact there. Playing secondary in the cornerback, it's a little different. What I like about this player is the fact that he doesn't shy away from contact. He actually embraces it. When you're recruiting guys like this, when you're coaching guys like this, are you either born with that or not born with that as a cornerback, or can you actually instill that confidence to say, hey, if it's going to be a run, get a little more physical, go down there.
Yeah, I think you absolutely can develop, that. It's a toughness, it's a mindset. You teach technique and fundamentals, and then guys, they have to embrace that. And I think Jarrian is definitely one of those players that have embraced, the physical nature of it. And it's something that he grew in, just in his time here in Tallahassee. And, when you have, the strength program, how he trains, the things he was able to do. I think his confidence built throughout that process. And, he'll definitely, like I said, he'll throw his body around for sure.
Well, he's got to have some ball skills, too. I've got to believe, Coach Norvell. I mean, he was a former wide receiver in high school, really a good wide receiver coming out of high school, and did play the corner spot as well. So, when he gets his hands on a football, probably going to reel that thing in.
No, and it's funny because when I was at Memphis, I was head coach at Memphis before coming to Tallahassee, and I actually recruited Jarrian as a receiver there. And he reminds me of that, quite frequently. He was looking for some personnel packages there on the offensive side, but, we definitely we knew the ball skills that he had, and he was a great playmaker for us. And I think that that background has definitely helped him in a lot of ways.
When you see the reaction, I'm not sure, I guess I shouldn't assume you saw the reaction when he got the phone call from the Jacksonville Jaguars, but it's really good stuff. It was so emotional. I wonder how you feel seeing something like that, or knowing these dreams are coming true for these young men that you've helped groom. You bring them on campus, and obviously you want to see them grow throughout life, even after they're done at Florida State. What are those moments like for you? And if you did catch Jarrian's experience as well, what was that like for you?
No, I did. And I mean, it's, the moment, the phone call, those are emotional filled, glimpses to what the journey's been, and what, the emotion's not just about the phone call. It's about all the work that's gone in it, the highs, the lows, the challenges. I mean, the adversities had to overcome. It's, you never, I always say, draft draft night is hard. And I mean, it's a hard experience because you just don't know. You don't know when you're going to go. You don't know when your name's going to be called. I mean, it's not, you go through, the ebb and flow of all of those experiences. But when you finally know, where you're going to be able to take that next step, and the organization that is giving you that opportunity, I mean, it's special. And Jarrian and I, we have a very tight relationship. He's one of my favorite players I've got a chance to coach over the years, and I love him for the growth that we've seen, and the commitment he made in just pushing himself to be his best. And I think Jacksonville got a great player, a great young man, somebody that's going to really be able to push and bring value in so many different ways. But it was my emotion was really there just because of the entire path that he's been on, and to see him hear his name called on that Friday night is pretty special, and just wonderful for both sides, and of what that means.
Yeah, we can take it from here a little bit, Coach. Now we can watch him grow up. I mean, I know you're going to still follow him, but now we get to watch him, which is kind of fun for us too. I think fans as well. Hopefully he's a Jaguar for a long time in Jacksonville, and we get to see the next step of it for not just him, but all these guys. And there's a lot more growth still to happen, I assume, even as a player for a guy like Jones.
I think his best football's in front of him, and you see the like I mentioned, last 2 seasons, last year and a half have really been big for him, and I think you see the playmaking ability, obviously what he was able to do in coverage. I mean, we were able to go into games and really, he eliminated, opposing teams, slot receivers. And I mean, they played some great ones. Some guys, a couple guys are, first round draft picks that, I mean, he really had big, big nights against, and, he embraces that challenge. And, there'll still be the high and low moments that he's going to get to experience, but I've got a lot of confidence in how he'll respond because of, the path and the journey that he's been through, here at Florida State, and he's definitely going to continue to take his game to an elite level.
Coach, talking about an elite level, another player from that program, obviously Jared Verse, getting drafted, going to the Rams, I believe as well. One of my favorite quotes from Jared Verse was about you, saying that you're one of the only coaches he ever had that could actually match his intensity. And when I look at a locker room now, Coach, I mean, I've been on the game now for 12 years, and it's amazing how much that locker room has changed, how much I think coaching has changed just because they try to tailor to modern-day players now. And you talk about that intensity that you bring to a locker room, that you bring to a field. I mean, have you had to change that intensity at all, or have you just got guys that can kind of handle what you bring to the table?
For us, it's about finding the right fit. And, we have an old-school approach with a new-age presentation, I would say. It's we're gonna work. And, I want to be around guys that love to work, and, we're going to value the relationships. And, I think when you sit there and you see, the investment our guys make and what they're willing to do, but also the appreciation of who they get to do it with, that's what makes the journey worth it. And, we had 10 guys selected, it's third most in Florida State history. I mean, all the great things we were able to accomplish throughout the last year. And, it's because of those relationships in that locker room. And a lot of different guys come from, we had guys that, came up through the high school ranks that have been here for 4 years, even guys that transferred that have been here for 4 or 5 years, throughout their journey. But then you also had, guys like Braden Fisk, Keon, Coleman that were here for 1 year, but you saw, a very tight, knit group. And, I don't know if any of you guys saw the phone call between, Jared and Braden Fisk. I mean, just when they were both selected to the Rams and just the emotions they felt, it's because of that locker room. And so, I coach our guys, I push them hard. I try to help them, be able to see all the things that I know that they can do and what they can accomplish, but, also have an appreciation for who they get to do it with and what they get to represent. And, obviously we're here at a special place at Florida State.
I wouldn't have minded both of those players wearing a Jags uniform too.
Yeah,
Jags only had one first-round draft pick, unfortunately, or a couple in the top 2 rounds. Mike Norvell, Florida State head coach, hanging out with us for a couple more minutes here on the Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. And Coach, you said 10 drafted. That's an enormous amount. That speaks volumes to what you guys did, how you developed the guys you brought in, and what your record was last year. But now the hard part is you got to replace those guys. How much of a challenge is that going into 2024? I know you have a nucleus, but but you have to replace some really good players and also some quality leaders of the group that got drafted and is leaving Florida
absolutely.
State.
And there's a lot of excitement here in Tallahassee because we have guys that have played, guys that have been able to make an impact, that are now getting a chance to take another step, and to really be able to step into that role as a leader, or what has to be a go-to player on a day in and day out basis. And seeing that growth, seeing that maturity, seeing that development is critical, and we all have to go through it. And there's going to be times where you transition up and you get a chance to go take that next step in your career, and that's where a lot of these guys are within our program. We've got great experience coming back, but you mentioned we had some wonderful players that went to the National Football League, and there's a lot of excitement here because I think we got a chance to really have a very similar number here in this next year's class of guys that they have to go do it. They have to go play the game. They got to be at an elite level, but I think the potential is there, and just excited to see it all play out here in 2024.
Looks like you guys have everything linked up right now, from your NIL plan to your transfer portal plan to the momentum you built on the field to what's going on with facilities, and obviously you extending in Tallahassee. What's that feel like? What's that buzz like on campus? Do you guys sense it? Do you sense it when you go to the grocery store? Sense it when you're walking around campus? Can you describe that a little bit for folks that aren't right there in Tallahassee? The momentum that you guys
Florida
have?
State's a special place, and it's filled with special people, and that's what I'm grateful to be able to represent. And we definitely have a lot of momentum. There's a great deal of push for our program to get back to the top of all the college football. And this last year, we were able to do some great things, and this next year presents a wonderful opportunity and great challenges that'll be ahead. But when you have an appreciation of all those areas, and you've got a commitment from everybody involved to continue to improve and get better. There's a lot of work to be done, but I know who I get to do it with, and so it's really a tremendous amount of buzz, excitement, and an appreciation for the work that has to go into it.
Coach, there's such an emphasis now on the portal, right? It's the ultimate game changer. Some of you guys from the spring, came from the portal, and now there's a lot to like for what you guys are doing over there. Back when I played, it was all about recruiting, getting guys 4 or 5 years there. Like, how much emphasis now, Coach, is on recruiting those high school kids, bring them in the program, bring them through the program, and how much emphasis now is, hey, we had a great season, guys may want to come over for the transfer portal?
Obviously everybody's got a different path, and we've had great success with guys that have come through the portal. There's been a lot of schools that have taken plenty more than what we have through the portal. We've just gotten the right ones, and that's something I think evaluation is still key. Whether it's high school, whether it's transfers, whether it's junior college players, whatever that needs to be. When you find the right fit for your team, for your organization, and because that's what we're trying to build, and it's not a group of individuals. It's it's a football team that comes together that really cares about who they get to do it with, and I think that even as all those paths have come together, you find a lot of like-minded individuals that that love to go through this process together, and that's what we're building, and going to continue to push towards whatever path is necessary to get the right guys here.
Mike Norvell, we got to let you go, but I can't let you go without asking about Keon Coleman. He's stolen the last 8 days in the spotlight. Is that the personality of this kid? Obviously, he looks like tremendous IQ, fantastic football player. It just feels like sometimes at the collegiate level, these guys are insulated, so we don't get to see all that personality. And now all of a sudden, it's oozing out across the nation as he gets drafted by the Buffalo Bills. Is that who he is and who he's been? And the guy
I'm glad the country's getting to see what we know. And Keon is a special young man, and what all the things you mentioned. He's extremely smart. He's got just a wonderful personality, great playmaker, and he's going to be one that the National Football League is going to enjoy. You're getting a chance to have Keon Coleman a part of their their organization, and obviously the Bills got a great one, and excited to see him and all the future success he's going to be able to have.
Coach, thanks for jumping in for a few minutes and hanging out with us and talking Jarrian Jones and the rest of your Florida State Seminoles. Have a good rest of your spring and summer. And good luck.
Thank you guys for having me on, and go Noles.